Field Notes 12/5/2021. The full itinerary for Operation Hat Snatch has been laid out. Unfortunately, it revolves around a wench for the car and a pulley to yank said hat off the field director's head. I'm concerned it might be a bit overkill.
Hello, Churchers and Shards, and welcome to a re-recording of a video that was supposed to go out yesterday, which is the next episode of the Haunted Museum that we're going to go over. I think maybe the Haunted Museum is haunting my digital files. I don't know. My GoPro is the camera I usually record on, and currently it's just flashing a little red light at me, and I don't know why. So you get to look at me on the actual HD camera that's installed on my computer. So, sorry? Alright, so I'm going to try to keep myself in this tight little box while we watch the next episode of Haunted Museum. If you don't know what the Haunted Museum is, it is Zak Bagans' personal museum full of haunted objects that he has collected over his years of ghost hunting. I didn't realize how long he'd actually been doing this, and I feel really old now that I know. So there's that. Nothing like a reality check to bring you down to earth. So the Haunted Museum. So this particular episode is called The Chair of the Beast, and I actually think it's kind of a cute episode. I just think it's a cute episode. I honestly think the majority of Zak Bagans' stuff is kind of just entertaining in general, just because it tries so hard. And this is one of the ones that I'm just kind of like, okay. So we've got a haunted rocking chair. Now, this video is part of the Paranormal Archaeology blog series. So what I have to try to do is not debunk anything. The goal here is not to debunk the claims. The goal here is to, doing paranormal archaeology requires us to assume that if someone tells you they believe that an object is haunted, that you have to believe that they believe that. You don't have to assume that the object is haunted. That's not neither here nor there. We don't care if the object is actually haunted. What we care about is how the object is being treated, or place is being treated now that it is deemed paranormal in nature. And that's pretty much everything in Zak's museum. Is a lot of them are just kind of everyday objects that a lot of us have interacted with over our daily lives, and these particular ones have been deemed haunted or paranormal in nature. So what we want to know is how interactions with these particular objects have changed. Now, this one I like because Zak kind of goes into some treatments that changed around, some treatments and actions that changed around the rocking chair. But let's get into it, shall we?
When it comes to the imagination, nothing compares to that of a child. Their imaginations allow them to see things we no longer can or are taught not to believe in anymore. But I think their willingness to see beyond our normal world sometimes comes at a price. I believe it makes children much more vulnerable to demonic possession.
If you watched the preview that I put up yesterday, you will see that this is the section that I was actually talking about, where Zak goes on about the penchant for young minds to be easily possessed by entities. This is actually a really common belief in a lot of paranormal circles, or at least the ones that I have interacted with and the ones that I have observed. The whole idea that there's something special about childhood, there's something special about the mind of a child. I mean, Stephen King writes about it. Name a horror movie that has a child actor in it. It's always the kid. They're kind of like, because the child is so innocent, like they are able to perceive without filter the world around them. Whereas as we become adults, we get these veneers put over our eyes, and we're no longer able to think in a magical, mystical way. You know, everything's logical and, you know, A, B, C, 2 plus 2 equals 4. You know, in a child's mind, 2 plus 2 could equal like whatever number it wants it to. I think it's a silly idea. And it also harkens back to this like mythical idea of childhood. Keeping in mind that like the idea of being a child and having a childhood is kind of a new and modern idea. Children weren't always perceived as being like perfect, innocent, unadulterated beings, you know, pillars of light. They also didn't always have a childhood. We didn't always used to have our kids, you know, have life stages that occur before you're an adult. You were a baby who was not able to take care of itself, and then you were basically in pre-adult training. You know, you were basically being taught to do the things that are going to keep you alive as an adult, and then you were an adult. Those were the stages. And then thanks mainly to capitalism, we started getting life stages in childhood. So we started off with like, you know, you buy stuff for a baby, and then you buy developmental toys for a toddler, and then you buy, you know, fun stuff for a preteen or just a child. And, you know, now we have the preteens, and we've got like the teenagers, and we've got the young adults, and then we have adults. And nobody knows where they're supposed to be because we don't actually have any kind of like rite of passage to move us from one point to the next, which is something that we did get rid of from our past, which was kind of helpful. But now I'm rambling, and that's a topic for another video. However, but so much of this story that Zach has built around this rocking chair, and then the movie that comes on after this, is built around that concept of the perfect innocent child who is influenced by the outside evil force, and because of the child's innocence, the child is unable to protect itself from this evil outside influence. So anyway,
apparently this happened to the original owners of one of the most powerful and infamous objects in my collection. Several years ago, there was a well-documented attack on a family by a demon. This powerful entity claimed the family's rocking chair, the symbol of domestic life and tranquility, as kind of a demonic perch. The demon was repeatedly seen rocking in the chair. And from this chair, this evil creature launched an attempt to possess the family's children.
I wanted to touch on the point that Zach makes about the rocking chair, because the rocking chair that he's showing us in the video, I'm guessing is the actual rocking chair, because I think that's the whole purpose of this show, is for him to show us actual artifacts from his actual museum. And I think the rocking chair is really kind of cool because that's a style of rocking chair that's very common. I've seen it places. I think there's one in my own family. It's such a, like I was saying earlier, it's such a common object, such a common everyday object. And for Zach, it's this symbol of evil, true, pure evil. And also I just kind of get this like image of a demon rocking in a rocking chair and like knitting socks or something. It's like, what are you up to now, dear? It's in my head now. I do think it's also interesting that Zach connects the image of a rocking chair to domestic bliss. I think that's an interesting connection because most households that I'm aware of today do not have rocking chairs, just because it's like, or they have rocking chairs, but they don't look like that. That is an antique rocking chair, or I think it's considered an antique now because it's too old. But it's just like, it's such an older object for a household to have, that it's interesting that in Zach's mind, it is connected to domesticity. As a contrast and compare, there's a rocking chair that is passed down on the maternal side of my family. And the whole story around that rocking chair is that every child in the family has been rocked in that chair at some point in their infancy. So that particular rocking chair for me is like a maternal object, not necessarily a domestic object, but a maternal object, and it's connected to the act of being a mother. Is like the women in my family are not true mothers until they have rocked their babies in this chair. So much drama for such a simple object. But it is interesting that the two rocking chairs like have symbolic purpose in the family, even though like I don't think we've ever said that there's a demon in our rocking chair. So that's kind of fun. Anyway.
I acquired the chair in 2019, and I have personally seen with my own eyes the terrible toll it can take on people. In fact, I became so worried about the impact it was having on my visitors to the museum that for several months I refused to let anyone even go near it. Is it possible?
So here's another point that's really, this is the really important point of this whole clip for me, is that Zach says that the chair caused so many issues that he had to lock the chair up. He had to put the chair away. So this is what I'm talking about with interactions with an object changing after the object is perceived to be paranormal, because Zach perceives this rocking chair as being paranormal. It's possessed of a demon, so it's a bad juju. And so to protect everyone from it, he has to lock the chair up. And I'm sure it got locked up somewhere special. And I think later on they talk about how they performed exorcisms on the chair, as you do. What is interesting, though, is that Zach doesn't actually go into any details as to what the chair did or what behaviors he associated with the chair that made him worry. I think later on he says something about episodes, like the episodes with his employees, but we don't know what that means. And I'm not debunking here at this point, because at this point I want to know what the behaviors were that changed around the chair. Like what episodes? What was the episode like? What did people just start staring at it blankly? Did they sit in the chair and they felt like, something was biting them? Did they just have nightmares about the chair? I want to know what the behaviors were that were associated with the chair as a researcher, because that is important to me, because it does mean that, again, people's behavior towards and around the object changed. If people walked into a room and just saw a rocking chair and had no preconceived notions about the rocking chair being haunted, they're probably not going to have any interactions with the chair that would be alarming. But once Zach purchased the chair and put it in his museum and put it out on display, people came to his haunted museum to look at haunted objects. They see the rocking chair and they start interacting with the rocking chair as if it were haunted, because why wouldn't you? You've been primed to do this at this point. So Zach also mentions that he takes the chair off display and then he puts it back out. So I want to know, that's the other thing I want to know, is what changed? What procedure happened? I'm guessing it's the exorcisms, although I don't know. I'm just putting it together as it's given in this video. So obviously Zach did something with the chair while it was in storage that cleared the chair for him, or made him feel confident enough that he could put the chair back out and it not be an issue. And as this was what he said, 2019, don't quote me on that. The chair's been on display since then. So whatever he did clearly worked, which means people aren't having any kind of reaction, any kind of negative reactions to the chair. So what changed there? Were the people notified that the chair had been cleansed? Does he have a whole new group of people working there who have never interacted with the chair before, so they're not pre-programmed to interact with the chair in a negative fashion? These are the things that are interesting to me. And again, it doesn't matter if the chair is paranormal or not. What matters is that Zach and everyone who's interacting with the chair believe that the chair is paranormal. performing an exorcism kind of implies that there was a priest involved of some variety. So, you know, who was I don't need to know like the name of the priest, because like I'm not trying to pry, but like, was it a Catholic priest? Was it a Lutheran priest? Was it even a Christian denomination? Was it like smudge sticks and fans and drums? Was it like pseudo shamanism? What was done? Like, what ritual was performed to the chair that then made the chair safe? So that's interesting to me. I would really like to know a whole lot more about the procedure that occurred during the chair's imprisonment, I guess, because it is back on display. Apparently, according to this, it is back on display. So that's where I really get fascinated with this rocking chair. Like, it's a goofy artifact up to this point, and now I'm like, okay, now you've got this evil chair. It's so evil that you can't leave it on display. So you put it away, but then you put it back out. So what happened in the meantime to make the chair not evil anymore?
Like, some have claimed that this chair actually absorbed part of the presence of that demon that tormented this family. And if so, is this demon responsible for the afflictions so many of my visitors have experienced? The following film is based on and inspired by my own investigation into what I believe is one of the most haunted and powerful objects in the world.
Chair of the Beast. That's a lot to put on a rocking chair, I feel like. I do want to jump. Again, see, there's like a whole video here. Please go watch it. It's great, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to slam the chair. Okay, maybe we're going to watch from this point forward just because, like, it's so goofy. I'm not gonna lie, man. American child actors are the fucking worst. Anyway. Okay, so despite Father Sullivan's efforts, the demons remained. Years later, they were finally expelled after repeated exorcisms were performed. In 2019, Zach acquired the chair and brought it to the museum, where it is now on display. And there's the chair. Like I said, it's I'm sure you've seen these chairs before. They're pretty common. It's just the design of the chair is fairly common. You see them everywhere. It's even got the eagle, the American eagle paint on it. There's a name for that design that I don't know what it is. And then I think it's probably got, I think that's 13 stars to represent the 13 original colonies. So, I mean, it's a common rocking chair. I just wanted to play that little clip at the end because a couple things. Let's put our debunker hat on real fast. A couple things are said during this video, both by Zach and in the actual clip. And that's, remember at the tail end, Zach was like, it may have absorbed the energy of the demon. Well, originally, in the beginning of the clip we started watching, Zach said that the chair possessed a demon. And then at the end, he's like, maybe it absorbed a demon? Maybe? And then the whole movie, I gotta quit saying clip. The whole movie after the intro is about that boy, Casey, who is apparently possessed. And I think during the video, they claim that Casey is possessed by Legion, the demon Legion. Now, the movie that occurs after the intro is based on the story that goes along with the artifacts sometimes. See the first video for my caveat on that. So it's just interesting that, like, at the end, it shows the old woman in the chair. She's clearly, like, some kind of supernatural, probably a demon thing. And she's like, yes, Casey, we have so much work to do. Also, they're implying that because she says there's many of us in you. You are not alone. So even the movie clip, God, quit saying clip. Even the movie itself implies that the chair isn't haunted. Casey is. So yeah. So again, keeping our debunking hat on, Zach said that he views the rocking chair as being one of the most evilest artifacts in the world, even though in the little follow-up thing at the end of the video, it says that the chair has been exorcised and it no longer has any evil presence in it anymore. So if it's no longer possessed of the devil, then how is it still evil? How is it still an evil object? And I guess maybe that does kind of tie back into the whole concept of paranormal archaeology, where people's interactions change around the object, because, you know, Zach has both said that the chair is possessed and that the chair isn't possessed. So how does that then affect his overall interaction with the chair, or does he even interact with the chair? Because like it kind of is and isn't at the same time. It's Schrodinger's chair. It is possessed and it is not possessed. So that's kind of interesting. Trying to think if I have any other thoughts about the rocking chair. The rocking chair itself, like, is a cool chair. Like I said, you've probably seen one of these before. You've probably sat in one of these before. You may even still have one in your house. It's probably not possessed of a demon, so don't panic. It's not like the chairs were each assigned a demon before they were shipped out. Just Zach's chair. Looking at it from a paranormal archaeology point of view, the chair is very interesting because it's so common and the interactions around it are so drastic. Looking at it from an archaeological fantasies point of view, where we do work at debunking things, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this story that do kind of like make it funny. I don't know how else to put it, but it's still kind of fun to think about. And I can literally tell you that when I do finally go, because I'm going to this museum, when I finally go to this museum and I finally go and see this chair in person, I'm going to be like, oh, it's the haunted rocking chair. And I'm going to want to sit in it, and I'm going to want to rock in it, and I'm going to want to interact with it. If this was a rocking chair that I saw in an antique store, I honestly probably wouldn't even give it 2 looks, because I'm just not that into rocking chairs. So even though I don't believe the chair is possessed, my interactions with this particular chair will change now because of it. And that is kind of the essence of paranormal archaeology. Like, even as a skeptic, my expectations and interactions with this object have changed now because I've been told that it's a paranormal object. So there you have it. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. If you have, please click the like button. You can thumbs it down if you want to. No one can tell. I think I can. Whatever. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't know why YouTube felt like they needed to protect everybody from negative numbers. If you didn't like it, leave a comment below and tell me why. If you did like it and you made it all the way to the end of the video, go ahead and put a chair emoji in the comments section, because that equals interaction with the video, and interaction with the video is good. So I will see you all in the next video. Thank you very much, and I hope you are all having a very merry Dirtmas.